As an entrepreneur, you can't be afraid of failure because the chances are something will happen along the way that wasn't planned.
Rowena Bird is the co-founder of Lush, the global cosmetics brand built on sustainability, activism, and handmade products.
I would be quite frightened for suddenly to have an investor come in and give me loads of money and say, right, now you can take it from 100 shops to 800 shops. However exciting and sexy that sounds, the reality is you've got to run that business. And if you haven't learned how to run an 800 shop business, that's a recipe for disaster.
For you, what is an entrepreneur?
I think it's somebody who has got the right mix of bravery and stupidity.
Welcome to Screw It, Just Do It, the show for those who decided to screw it and just did it. I'm Alex Chisnall, host of this podcast and co-founder of the Festival of Entrepreneurs at the NEC in Birmingham this October 8th and 9th. This is the podcast that brings you face-to-face with the entrepreneurs and business rebels who threw caution to the wind and built something extraordinary. Want to surround yourself with 5,000 to 10,000 entrepreneurs who've already decided to screw it and just do it? The Festival of Entrepreneurs is happening October the 8th and 9th at the NEC Birmingham, and I'm giving away free 2-day pass to my listeners. 200 plus speakers, 90 plus sessions, billion-pound entrepreneurs sharing their real stories, not theory, but the actual strategies they use to scale. Head to festivaloventrepreneurs.co.uk right now and claim your free pass, because the best networking happens when you're in the room with people who've already decided to screw it and just did it.
Well, Ro, look, thanks for joining me again. It's always massively appreciated because I know how busy you are. Tell me to start with, what was life like before you became a business owner and became an entrepreneur?
I would say it was pretty much the same, really. I mean, so I went through college, became a beauty therapist, came down to Poole, joined Mark and Liz, and there was only sort of 5, 6, 7 of us then. And I think the way that I've been brought up in the business world by Mark and Liz was to be a doer, to say yes, to give things a go, and not have a job title as such, but to have a job that's all encompassing. And I think that has led then on to when we started Lush, as the 6 of us, each one of us had our own skill set, because we'd always been encouraged to sort of have a go at everything and find out, what you were good at. And I think that made a difference. So I don't really, there was no difference between going to, before Lush and after. It's organic growth, really. And now I do more of what I've always done, but with more people.
And did you ever see yourself, like back in those days when you trained to become a beauty therapist, etc., did you see yourself ever building a business? Was that something that was on your radar?
I think you always think that, I probably thought I'd have my own salon, because I think that when you do your training, they give you all the business side of it as well, because I suppose that's what most people do. They're going to work on their own, sort of like the visiting houses, or they're going to start their own clinic or own salon. So, I thought I would probably have my own salon. It's turned into much more than that.
Just a bit, yeah, just a bit. And then where did the idea for Lush come from then? For those who don't know the story.
So before Lush, so I've worked with the same team of people now for 44 years. So before Lush, we were manufacturers. We had a small beauty clinic at the wrong end of Poole, and we manufactured for the Body Shop. So we invented product for them and sold it to them, and then they filled it and put it in their shops. So we were doing all of that. And then Body Shop sold, where they floated. And so the shareholders were saying, well, you can't have a company as big as Constantine and we're because you're too dependent on them. If something happens to them, then that affects the whole business. It makes sense. So they bought the formulas off us, and with that money, we then started Cosmetics to Go, which was a mail order catalogue. So mail order in those days, very different to what it is now, because there was no internet. So you had computers, but it was really for putting your names and addresses on. It wasn't for interaction, really. So we started a mail order business, and then we thought, in mail order 30 years ago, well, it would have been 34 years, 35 years ago, it was very different. You placed an order by phone or by post or by somebody who ran the catalogue, and you got your order a week or 2 weeks later. And we just thought, well, it's ridiculous. If you've got your order from somebody, just send it out now. That made common sense to us. So I think we were among the first to do same day or next day deliveries, because we couldn't see the sense of holding on to somebody's money. And then, it just built things up. It just made life more difficult. So we started out, we ran that for 4 years. We learned a lot of lessons. I would say really that was our training ground for Lush. So you must never be, as an entrepreneur, you can't be afraid of failure, because the chances are something will happen along the way that wasn't planned. So we weren't planning to lose cosmetics to go. We loved it. I still mourn the days of it, but I'm grateful that I had it, because we've learned a lot of lessons for Lush.
If you're enjoying this conversation and thinking, I need to be around more people like this, then I've got the perfect solution for you. The Festival of Entrepreneurs is where 5,000 to 10,000 ambitious entrepreneurs come together to learn from the people who've actually done it. It's on October the 8th and 9th at the NEC in Birmingham, and I'm giving my listeners free 2-day passes. Real entrepreneurs, real stories, real strategies. Exactly like what you're hearing right now, but live and in person. Go to festivalofentrepreneurs.co.uk and get your free 2-day pass before they're gone.
So we lost that business through overtrading, and also not really understanding that we didn't have to go into receivership. Just because the bank decided it wanted to call in the money it lent us didn't mean that we had to go into receivership. That was a hard lesson to look back on and think, oh, blimey, we didn't have to have done that. Customer service has always been really important, and we did a lot of customer service. We were always putting little treats in parcels, but in hindsight, they're probably quite expensive. Sticks of rock, expensive lovely chocolate, or there was always something free, or we'd put like a little product in. And then we were given this very sound advice you always have purse openers. So for product that is cheaper, so it has less of a margin, but it gets people into spending their money with you. So it's called a purse opener. What we didn't realise was when we did our fatal last sale, we did so many purse openers, we didn't sell any of the higher, or not as much as we needed, of the higher cost stuff with the bigger margin. Therefore, by the time we'd put free things in, by the time we'd sent the post out the same day, and sometimes we would do it, we'd split the parcel if we didn't have a product made, because we were still making all our own products. So we would be paying for 2 parcels. We did free post and packaging. We were doing so many things for free that actually our margins just went ee. Then we had a flood over Christmas where the radiator upstairs hadn't had the screw thing put back on. We were having works done in the building. So the central heating came on, the water started to flow around. That flooded through the floors. And Mark was given a call on Christmas Day, Boxing Day, saying, that building that you've got in Poole is glowing. I think you need to come down and see what's going on. So we lost all the computers with databases. And I mean, it was awful. And so pretty soon after that, come the April, we were just saying, well, we're going to have to just close down. We've overtraded. We've spent all our money. We haven't got any. Yeah.
And one of those things, like you say, that's out of your control, that happens, like an act of God or whatever you want to call it, that changes the track.
Exactly. And then we went through the most painful thing of having receivers in. I mean, goodness, people go on about estate agents and traffic wardens. Receivers, breed of their own. But, they've got a job to do, and they came in and they did it. And it was an unpleasant time for us because of the situation we were in, I suppose. So we then all, the company was disbanded, and we owed people money, and it was an awful time because we didn't like being in that position. We didn't want to owe people money. It's one thing losing your business, but you don't want to, you're letting down the people that you're employing and all the rest of it. So that all happened, and we sort of disbanded and went and tried to find other jobs. I wanted to be a hot air balloon pilot with Per Lindstrand. I went for an interview, and it was amazing. I got around the factory and met him, and it was all very lovely. But Mark had filled me with my own self-worth, and so I was asking for too much money, and so I didn't get the job. I think so that didn't work. Other people went to work for other companies. Liz went to Time Manager, Carl went to a few others. It was disjointed, and you're still feeling almost, you feel ashamed of losing a business as well. So there was quite a lot to deal with. But we got together. It was Mo's birthday in June. And so, and I don't know how we do it. It must have all been done on the phone, because there wasn't mobile phones then. It wasn't as easy as sending a text message, should we all get together in the garden? But we all congregated in Mark and Mo's garden for Mo's birthday. And we were chatting and laughing and enjoying being together again as a group. And Helen just said, do you know what? I'm going to go back into 29 High Street, which is our head office. It's our main base. It's the building that was owned by Mark, Mo and Liz. And she says, I'm going to start making product. And I said, well, if you're going to go in and make product, Helen, then I'm going to come into the shop and I'll open the shop doors and I'll sell it. So, and I'd just met Mike, who's now my husband, but he's a carpenter. So he came and helped me redo the shop. So I refitted the shop, painted it, made it look different. Liz came in and helped with the painting as well. And we just made it look different. Mark came in and made product with Helen, and the product was made literally in the lab upstairs, shipped downstairs, and then I would sell it.
That conversation just proves something. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So here's my challenge. Upgrade your network. The Festival of Entrepreneurs is happening October the 8th and 9th, and I'm giving my listeners free 2-day passes to get in the room with 5,000 to 10,000 entrepreneurs who are actually building something. This is where the risk takers, the game changers, and the people who've decided to screw it and just do it come for inspiration, education, and connection. Don't just listen to their success stories, go meet the people living them. Grab your free pass now, because the biggest risk isn't taking a chance, it's missing the opportunity entirely. If this conversation resonated with you, don't just sit there, act on it. Make sure you follow or subscribe for more game-changing conversations, and remember, the only thing standing between you and your business breakthrough is the decision to screw it and just do it.